Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Overtime, your one-stop shop for all things RLCS and Rocket League eSports. I'm here with my normal motley crew of Quinn Lobdell and Findable Carpet, but joining us for the majority of the season is going to be the Shogun himself. How are you doing, my friend?
It's actually cool to be back. LA is absolutely roasting, although I did hear it was kind of a lot hotter.
It was roasting a bit more last week, for sure.
Yeah, it was. You missed the blaze, but that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, we've talked about it a few times, but like the fire, like it was my house, street, houses that had firemen in their backyard spraying the actual fire. Like that's how close it was to my actual.
It was kind of surreal. It was one of the, I wasn't really like worried because it's not like it's gonna catch you off guard. It doesn't sneak up on you.
Yeah.
But it was still one of those like, whoa, wow, this is real. Like it's on fire.
You can only be so comfortable when it's raining ashes.
Yeah, like raining ashes. The furniture in my backyard had actually like pink like dots all over from the fire retardant that the planes were dropping. Yeah. So like it was actually on. Like
see, that's actually surreal to someone like me. Like the UK doesn't get anything like that. We had
because it never stops raining.
Yeah. Well, we had the tremors of someone else's earthquake once, and a roof tile fell off, and that made national news. Like, we don't get anything close to stuff like that.
Speaking of tremors, making waves through the Rocket League community is week number 1 of RLCS that just happened, and we had some crazy upsets. The standings from North America here, NRG crowning the top as usual, nothing unexpected there, and honestly, kind of for North America, everything's about where we expected it. FlyQuest and Ghost, you can see, didn't play. We'll get to see them in week number 2, but rough start there for Renegades. Emotion also not able to find a win, but looking stronger than we expected.
And you can look at their schedules. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a bit, but some of those teams at the bottom did have a very rough schedule starting off in the first week, so it definitely gives you something to look forward to. And I don't know if I speak for all the Rogue fans, but I was excited to see that with their new roster, they were still able to perform. Granted, their results might not have reflected it, but they seem to do well.
They certainly did, and yeah. So the big three, the big story here was NRG, Cloud9, and G2 coming out clean, coming out without dropping a game. G2 only played 1 game, but it was up against Renegades, who had a pretty rough week as they went up against G2 and also went up against NRG, only winning 1 game there against G2. So Renegades having a rough start here, but the big three staying clean in North America.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing right now. North America's always had a problem with consistency of their top teams. NRG usually only being the one we go to World Championships and go, okay, it's on NRG. Yeah. We hope the rest of you do okay, but NRG are the main boys for North America. This time around, North America's got a couple more hopes there, with Rogue kind of being that 3.5 out of that group. I honestly see it doing a pretty good season. That's going to pop out very quickly. Okay, bye. But it's going very well. The top teams performing in this opening week is very good. Renegades, it's a meh, but at the same time, this was not going to be a week we expect them to do well in. It's not a week that they expect them to do well in.
Yeah, I think the big question was about G2. They only played 1 game there, and it was against Renegades. And the question with G2 always is which G2 shows up, because Renegades, if G2 shows up in kind of the ball-chasing style we'd seen them in before, Renegades could have easily taken the win, but they only get 1 game there.
Yeah, I think that any way you look at Renegade's schedule, you mentioned it, like, expecting them to win games would have been really looking on the good side, or like expecting, you know, just stars to align. I think for them to lose both games doesn't necessarily mean they had a bad weekend. It's hard to beat NRG, and especially G2. We've seen them improve since the summer, and they came out pretty strong, I think, through the play-ins all the way until their first week. So, you know, it's hard for Renegades to be too upset with themselves considering the strength of their schedule.
Now, do we feel like we were talking about the big three here, and you mentioned 3.5 being Rogue. Like, Rogue was one of the auto-qualified teams for North America. They were one of the number 2. They were the number 2 team from league play of season 3. What's keeping Rogue out of our top 3 here as far as the big 3?
I mean, they had a big roster change. You had Turtle on there, and that was the trio that we kind of spoke on. They were like the North American princess. Everyone loved them so much, especially at LAN. They had such a huge fan base because they have so much personality.
Everybody wanted to dance with them at that ball.
Yeah. But once you mess that up at all, you're always fearful. You're always a bit scared of how are they going to do. Insolence, I think, is a fantastic player, but we know he's had a rough situation with some of his previous rosters. So I think it's just because they've had a recent change that it's one of those situations where it'll take about half a season before we can determine where they truly sit.
All right, so looking forward into week number 2 and the rest of the season, talking about North America explicitly, I want to ask you guys, who's hot for you guys? Who's the team to watch? Who's the team to be keeping our eyes on? Shogun, who you got right now?
Right now, I think Cloud9 really proved exactly why they are going to be a top team. They had a fantastic summer coming into this, winning the majority of the events they took part in. Gimmick, though. I love Gimmick does not get enough credit ever. I love the way Gimmick plays. He's so smart. He's always looking for the correct opportunity. We were talking earlier on about the fact that North America sometimes doesn't go for a pass when they really should. Gimmick is always looking for that pass.
Gimmick really surprised me because usually when you have players who aren't like, staples of the competitive scene, they actually tend to be a lot more, just individual type of players, not really looking for a lot of teamwork, not like you mentioned, not really looking for passes. But Gimmick, not only is he great at pressuring the ball and playing aggressively, which usually seems to be mutually exclusive from also being a team player. He's just got like the whole balance and really impressed me just as much.
Is Cloud9 your hot team as well?
I'd agree, yeah. I think actually Rogue really impressed me. I think we mentioned in Seoul that team roster change being a big worry for them. But it isn't the team roster change. They just had bad performances throughout the summer.
Sure.
Just didn't live up to where they were, and that's why they dropped down. I don't think it's a matter of switching their rosters, but I think they showed that in Seoul, there is still that honeymoon period, so we don't know really how they're going to do later on, but there is potential for this team. I think they're looking good.
Yeah, for me, looking forward to week number 2. FlyQuest is the team I've got the most thoughts about, and the team I'm most excited to see moving forward. They looked great in the qualifier there. Sad Jr. looked in the best form I think I've seen him in 2 seasons, so I'm excited to see him play. Looking forward into week number 2. Who you got, Carpet?
I mean, as far as the two that we've seen perform so far, I was a toss-up between Cloud9 and Rogue, and I think just for the sake of, we've already talked enough about Cloud9, I don't need to beef them up anymore. For arguments on the Rogue side, Matt, I've always been a big fan of, and I'll probably admit I'm a little bit of a fanboy of the player, but I love watching him play. He's so smart and effective. He does the things he needs to, and he's kind of that accidental star.
Sure.
It doesn't ever feel like he's ball chasing, but man, does he get highlight plays every single game he's a part of. And then him and Sizz working together. Every now and then, Sizz can, I understand that he has a game where he was rough, especially last weekend. There was a game where I was a little bit scared because Sizz was missing some things he shouldn't. But if he can keep his head in and they get that fan ramping up, all their fans rooting for them all season, I think they're going to be a really, really powerful team.
Okay, so I just want to point out that none of us wanted to talk about NRG. Is it because, obviously they go 2-0. They come out only dropping 1 game here. Is it because all the who's hots are the little fires on the volcano of NRG, and we're just ignoring the fact that we're all on this mountain, or why are we not talking about NRG right now?
I think anyone that was the good kid in school kind of knows this position of you're good all the time, and now it's just expected of you. And that's kind of what happened here. If one of the teams that we weren't expecting to do as well came up and did really well, G2. They are the problem child.
Sure.
That come up this week, played really well, so we're giving them credit. NRG, just expect it from them at this point, and they performed as they should.
G2 reminds me of the kid where everyone thinks they're an angel, and then you find out they've been doing a bunch of weird things behind your back. That's G2. It's come on, guys, just get it together.
They're the kid that everything was given to them. Their mom bought them the perfect binder and the TI 80,000 calculator and everything like that. And they're why are you still not getting good grades right now? But they got the win here in week number 1. We'll see how they play in week number 2. Now, a team that did not have the week that they were hoping for, Emotion here. Talk to me about Emotion right now, guys. They don't get a win against Rogue, but they get a win against NRG. They took 1 game off of NRG. That's the only game they won. How do we feel about Emotion right now?
I honestly love the way they can play. And again, as far as being the underdoggiest of teams coming into North America, I don't think many people had them pegged to make it into league play. RLRS for sure. We knew they were up there. But most people probably had Fibian in this spot, and they took Fibian's spot, and they took it well. They played fantastically in the play-ins. I think, again, it's just one of those, now they're starting to see oh, this is what we have to play like. This is what we're truly up against week to week. So it's a toss-up. Will we see them just kind of fall apart under pressure of just dealing with monster team after monster team, or will they click, figure it out, watch the replays, and just slowly improve throughout the season?
Yeah. Before anyone else says anything else, I don't know if you guys saw Ty Not Tyler's Twitter. Those guys played in the RLCS on the floor of DreamHack Montreal. So I don't know many people who can compete in RLCS, in the middle of a convention floor with tons of things going on around you and not being able to hear a word of your teammates. There's a little video of it, and honestly, I'm kind of impressed that they took a game off of the 3-time reigning North American champions, probably being unable to even hear their teammates next to them.
Yeah.
So
and
give them a break.
They started the broadcast too. The very first match of North American League play was Emotion versus Rogue. And to come in with a lot of new players, a lot of rookies on that team, and to be we got to start this show off here, and they don't get any wins, but they get a little bit more comfortable, get the win from NRG. I have hopes that they will be a competitive team moving forward and not just be a repeat of some other teams that we've seen in the past that have taken a spot from some team and then not been able to show up. I think Emotion's got it. I think they've got a chance.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I mean, we had Ty Not Tyler on last week saying to you, look, I like to talk. I like to be the main bit of communication there. I'm not too sure how well you've been able to talk and communicate to the rest of this team last week. I think that might have been a major thing missing, but they played really well. and I'll give that to them. Alushin, though, is the one I really like the most. He joined a huge group of players that actually scored either 1 goal or more last week, which is absolutely ridiculous for the RLCS. He needs to keep that going for the rest of the season, though. They need a certified goal scorer. I think it'll be him.
Yeah, well, we'll see how they're able to rack their stats up moving forward. Speaking of stats here, our man that gives us all the stats that we do throughout all the shows, DMR Rawlings, we've got him on the line here, and he's got an interesting point to make about Season 4. DMR?
So here's a prediction for you. Season 4 will be the tightest defensive season to date. In Season 1 in league play, we saw 4.7 goals scored per game. That dropped to 4.2 in Season 2, and then 3.8 in Season 3. This season, I project we'll see 3.6 goals per game. Teams that score first win around 70% of the time, and when less goals are scored, every goal matters. Also, with tiebreakers now based on game win percentage, when each team plays only 7 series, every win is crucial. So will NRG finish first in North America? I think so. They were the best defensive team in North America last season. They allowed 1.16 goals against per game in league play compared to the league average of 1.91, and in that time they never allowed more than 3 goals in a game. They only allowed 1 or less goals 72% of the time, and they kept a clean sheet 20% of the time. NRG is a powerhouse, and they're gonna do it again.
Awesome, thanks so much there, DMR. The interesting stat there, 4.7 goals per game in league play of Season 1, and that's dropped all the way down to 3.8, and you're like an entire goal difference between Seasons 1 and 3, and now he's predicting Season 4 to be at 3.6 or so. So these guys, like, we're getting down to like 3 goals a game, 3, maybe 4, and that's 1 per side and then 1 that makes the difference. These guys are really tightening up their defenses.
Well, I'm sure we'll see that throughout the season. Last weekend wasn't like that at all. We had goals on top of goals on top of goals. But yeah, defenses are tightening up. NRG, that defense was on fire throughout last week. Yep. But it's either a case of defenses weren't that tight last weekend or offenses are getting more creative.
They said the NRG last season, the goal average, usually people were allowing it like 2 goals a game. That was the league average, and they were allowing 1.16. So these guys definitely significantly under. And we'll see if they can keep it on here. Still definitely the favorites in North America. Switching gears over to just quickly talk about the RLRS, the rival series, and how things are going over there. Fibian comes out of week number 1 2-0, and Super Cops went 1-1, defeating Incognito. So good to see Fibian, who they get knocked out by Emotion, but they're going to try and make the best of that spot down there and see if they can qualify for RLCS in Season 5.
And I'm pretty sure when they got knocked down, who was it? I think somebody had said something on Twitter. It's like, we're going to prove that we should have been there.
I think it was the leftovers.
That was leftovers.
Yeah.
That? I mean, they're pretty much the same. I mean, I see them as like,
a very similar
they're
story,
the European leftovers. It's like they're a team that everyone had projected to be up into the RLCS, and something happened during the plane where they didn't make it. Except, yeah, no, that's about it. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm losing track. There's a lot of teams now. There's 16 teams in each region to keep track of.
They went 2-0. One of the teams they beat was Out of Style. Lachinio's team there with Justin as well. So good to see Fibian shaping up in great form. I'm going to take a quick break here from overtime. That's going to do it for our recap of North America. When we come back, we'll hop the pond and talk about Europe instead. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
love you, I do need you. I love you, I do need you.
Welcome back to Overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Week 1 of Rocket League for Season 4 league play is in the books. It was crazy. In North America, we had some stuff happen that we kind of expected to have happen. Everything went about as planned. The big 3 went undefeated. The teams that we had questions about generally lost. But Europe was a completely different story. So many things happened, and we can take a look at how that all panned out there. 2 teams coming out 2-0. And moving forward, you can take a look at the standings. Look at that. Frontline and Method. Those are not the 2 teams I expected to see up there on the top. And Reality, Team Envy 0-1, Mocket 0-1. What is happening right now in Europe?
I am so happy right now to see all of this going on. Once again, for the 2nd season in a row, Europe blown open in week number 1. Frontline coming out with a 2-0 that not many people expected. Method also with a 2-0 that not many expected. But 2 very different teams as well with it. Frontline, a pickup team, just came together for the RLCS, was Method, recognized that they just weren't getting the results they wanted last season. They stuck together, they grinded it out in multiple tournaments, the Universal Open, they went to DreamHacks, they played in Gfinity Elite Series. The grind works, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah, Method, we had them going up against Reality for the first match of the day, and Frontline of the last match they went up against Mocket, and both of those would be kind of like we could see them taking the victory. I think what most of us expected Method to be Reality, and for Mocket versus Frontline it was kind of up, but the 2 big games there were Method going up against Envy and getting the sweep, and Frontline going up against Gale Force eSports, and then 5 games getting the victory. And I want to start with Frontline here, okay? Because this is the team that everybody coming in the preseason. I was hot on them. I was like this. I like Frontline a lot. I thought Farrah was awesome, and he was getting Bluey and Chelsette, 2 players that have been improving a lot, and Bluey, kind of the youngest player in the league. I was super excited to see these guys play, and some people were like, no, I don't think it'll work out. But here they are on the top of the leaderboard, tied for first right now.
I mean, I mostly just want to hear what Shogun has to say about it. I always enjoyed Bluey, and a lot of people, and especially that haven't followed the scene behind it, understand that he's been a competitor for a long time. Like, who's this guy? I don't understand. Yes, he's been competing for a long time, but still, that breakthrough, being able to show up that quickly is just amazing.
All right, so you want my opinion on them?
Yes.
I'm actually really happy with it as well. Chelsette did not have the best season last season. He kind of got called out a couple of times, got kicked off the team. Same thing for Farah. Got dropped down for a Maestro who they thought would be better. Actually, originally dropped from Podex. They thought would be better. So I'm kind of happy to see these question mark players come together with another question mark of Bluey, come together and play so well. I think this opening week is very important as well because Bluey is temperamental.
Sure.
Is the nice way of putting about it. So they need these consistent performances to keep going on. That'll keep the team momentum up. That'll keep the team morale up. But it's got to be consistent all the time.
I think it's hilarious that like Farah gets dropped from the leftovers and then forms a new leftovers team with all these players that are left over, and here they are on the top again.
Yeah, I think that this frontline team. I mean, Bluey. You mentioned it. He's been competing for a really long time. He was a part of that We Dem Babies roster that was like with Scrub Kill. I forget who their 3rd was. Was it Chelsette?
I can't
We Dem Babies?
We Dem Babies.
Yeah, you remember We Dem Babies?
That was like between season 2 and 3.
Yeah, but do you know?
I don't
this is
remember.
going to do my head in now.
Yeah.
It was Scrub Killer.
I think it was Scrub Killer
Come back
and
to
Bluey.
me.
Scrub
Come back
Killer,
to me.
Bluey, and
For some, my brain
boom, boom,
want to say
boom.
like Flarky, but that's not right.
No, it's not Flucky because it was another. It was
Yeah,
someone
it's
else
not a
that
super young
couldn't
player.
play.
I think it was Chelsette.
It was not Chelsette.
So that could play by then.
Tell us in chat who it is, because we're definitely messing this
Either
one up
way,
here.
Bluey.
I think we spent
I'll
10
bring
minutes
this
trying to
to
figure
you
this out.
later on in the show.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. He's gonna figure it out. The funny thing is, I feel like Pashy is just like doing a good job, like creating players that go on to be on championship teams and stuff. It was like he had Devo, and then he has now Chelsette as well. Was a player that he was playing with, and now Chelsette's in a great position.
Violent Panda, yeah.
Violent Panda as well. Like he's doing a great
Players that
job
would be
creating players.
More successful without passion.
It's because they have to play play with him, right? You know,
He's the gateway. Would you like to be good? Play with me first.
Yeah.
All right, I'll release you into the wild, my children.
Yeah, well, talking about moving on to talk about like who's hot. I'm just it's a good transition because for me it's Frontline. I was hot on them beforehand, and I'm hot on them still. I can't wait to see them going. We saw Turbo Pulsa tweeting out after Gale Force dropped in 5 games. Turbo Pulsa on the Gale Force roster says Frontline's going to make top 2 this season. He's a believer. I'm a believer. We keep moving forward. What about you, Shogun?
Frontline, I mean, that was a fantastic series out of them. Both series going to Game 5. That was going to be the big question for them as well, is as a new team, could they come against more veteran squads and see whether or not they could hold their nerve? And once again, a rarity which is becoming more and more oftenly true during this season, the team that we're not expecting to have the experience and the nerve in those Game 5s coming out, Aeriality, with the win against the Leftovers in our qualifying week as well, pulling it off. I don't know what's going on, but these guys are knowing how to play in those clutch situations.
Absolutely. What about you, Quinn?
Honestly, I just have to agree with him.
We got 3 for Frontline right now. Man, nobody else is hot on anybody.
I'm going to do that thing again where everyone's talked about Frontline, so I'll talk about another team. I think Method is, I mean, we already know, but just by their performance. But what Jogan mentioned, the grind that they put in, sticking together as a roster, not breaking out, not just assuming like, oh, we lost, let's do something new. I think that's going to be huge for them. We see a couple teams in North America doing the same thing, G2 being one of them, knowing like, hey, Kronovi hasn't made LAN and we don't want to talk about how long. It's a time frame we just don't speak on. But I'm super stoked to watch them get more comfortable in the competitive scene, because I think the pressure sometimes builds up for them.
Wait, I wanted to address the other team that I think we really needed to be talking about because they weren't here this week, but they're a huge team. They've always been a big team in Rocket League. Flipside Tactics did not play this week. They're a team that's been they've had their rough summer. They had a rough offseason, but it's a team that's always shown up in big fashion, and they're going to be back in week 2. Can't wait to see them play.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to change my answer to Flipside.
Okay.
And the reason why we haven't seen them play yet, the only thing we've seen them play with Mystic, like that's seriously a big tournament, has been the Dream Hacks, and we saw them very successful in one, and they had a second performance in Atlanta that was all right. But I think that this is a team that's really going to struggle with finding a solid third. And I think that Mystic's the right fit. I think they just need to really work and work and work on creating that synergy. I think it's just been a struggle for them to kind of move from being that dominating dynasty team to maybe one that's just not going to have such a stronghold over the competitive scene, right?
It's funny because I felt like we saw them having not the strongest season in Season 3, but they still came out as the European regional champions, correct?
Yeah,
yes, they were. So, like, these guys still so big, so strong, and I'm excited to see them playing forward. But you brought up your team to watch was Method. We can't not talk about Method right now. These guys come out 2-0, sweeping the defending world champions of EnVyUs. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That was if you say you predicted Method to sweep EnVyUs, maybe win. But sweep? No, I don't believe you. That didn't happen.
Yeah, this was a fantastic series for them as well. A lot playing out of his skin. He's usually considered the outlier on this. It's always the duo, Metsa and Magnus. And I've spoke to a lot. It does grind away at him a little bit. He wants the credit. Here is the credit. He played phenomenal. Look at that shot. You do not hit it more perfect than that. Gets the goals he deserves. Came out as our European MVP. And to be honest, if he keeps playing like that with the rest of the team, they are a serious threat. And going back to Flipside Tactics, seeing those 2 squads coming up, Frontline and Method, playing as good as they are, we've only got 4 spots for the World Championships. Now, you'd put EnVyUs and GFE up there. Now you've got to put Frontline and Method up there. We are going to lose some serious talent before we even hit internationals.
Yeah, you can talk about Gale Force, EnVyUs, Method, Frontline, and Flipside. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
That's 5 teams. One of those doesn't get to go, and who's it going to be at this point? I'm glad you brought up.
Come back.
Maka
did not have a bad series.
Like we only saw Maka play 1 game, and it went 5 games against Frontline, who was so hot in week 1. Like I do think it's a good point to bring up that like none of these losses we saw from the big teams, the teams that got upset, were like, what were they doing? Where were they playing? I can't believe they lost. They were close games. Both the Gale Force and the Maka series is going 5 games.
And I think it's got to be big to note. Method sweeping Team Envy.
Yeah.
And it's not like, no matter how bad a world champion team plays, it doesn't matter. Like even a world champion team playing poorly, yes, you can attribute that to them losing a series, but to then still sweep them. And I also really want to know how much PTSD Method and Flipside get when they go against each other soon, because that was hands down like one of the best series I've ever cast in my entire life.
Back from the playoffs of season 3.
Overtime, the final game to see who qualifies into LAN. Method almost a team to knock out Flipside from even being able to be a contender at LAN. And I know that whenever they go head-to-head, like Method is going to bring everything they've trained for. Was probably just for a rematch for Flipside to show, hey, we should have had that spot, and we're going to have it again this season.
For sure. I'm glad you brought up a lot, because he definitely left a bit to be desired in the play-in. He definitely was missing a lot of open shots. Had a bunch of own goals that were really ugly, so it was really good to see him showing up in a brilliant way and putting up fantastic plays there and fitting in with the roster.
Yep, and I'm just going to fanboy about my region for a second. Make sure you are watching everything to do with EU, because it's such a tight group at the very top that every single week, every match, every head-to-head will be important, because I foresee a lot of tie-breaking rules being required to separate these teams at the end of the season.
Yeah, these guys all so close. Cannot wait to see how week 2 shapes up for Europe. But before we get done with our quick chat, with our recap here of how things are going, can't forget about the OCE region. And as always, anytime we talk about OCE, we got to talk to Yummy Cheeseman. So Yummy's going to give us an update here on how things are going over there. Yummy, take it away.
Yummy Cheeseman here. We just had the OCE Championship qualifiers finish, and of course we did see Chiefs and Jam Gaming auto qualified, but the big thing to note, all of the big 6 teams made it through. And one of the big notable matches of this season was Conspiracy eSports taking down Vinyl Room, made up of 3 really experienced players, to become the first team with 3 rookie players entering RLCS. I hope you give Conspiracy eSports a look throughout this season.
Awesome. Always good to hear from Yummy Cheeseman about OCE. We'll definitely see 2 of those teams at LAN, and could they perform another upset, defeat some more teams over there, maybe make it a run all the way to the championship. You never know how things are going to go. Moving over to the RLRS for Europe in particular, we had talked about Fabian in North America went 2-0. They were the team that we were expecting to qualify, who got knocked into the rival series. Leftovers, same situation, and for week 1, same results, coming out 2-0. So the 2 teams that we're expecting to see playing the relegation tournament at the end of the year, showing up in the ways we're expecting them to.
And looking at all the comments from Reddit and reading a lot of the, reading through Twitch chat during the RLRS, everyone's just like, okay, when are we going to get to see leftovers in the relegation promotion matches? I think everyone just is watching it. They seem to just have a slight class over a lot of the people they're going up against, and I think a lot of that has to do with just the experience of these players. They've been there, they've been at RLCS, they've been competing for so long, and they were able to do so well, just not at the right time. And now they're in the RLRS, but this is their place to prove themselves, and if they can do it, it's just a matter of time before we see them 1 league up.
Yep, we'll get to see those guys compete as the season progresses on. Got to stay in the top 2 to play in the relegation, but right now, Fabian and Leftovers both on course to get there. So this is our recap so far. Got week 2 inbound next week. It's going to be great. Next up, we talked about Method and how great they were. Stop doing that. That's not nice. I'm trying to do it. Method, we're going to have Metsanauris on the line. It's going to be great stuff. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Week 1 of RLCS is in the books. We've got week 2 to look forward to. Some of the big stories here from week number 1. Method came out strong in such a fantastic fashion. And we've got Metsanauris on the line here for our interview today. Metsanauris, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. First question, always first question I like to ask people the first time I interview them here on on Overtime. How did you get into Rocket League?
When it first came out, I saw a lot of YouTube videos about it, and then I just really wanted to buy it. But I couldn't really buy it because no one of my friends wanted to buy it. So I was trying to convince everybody to buy it with me, but no one did. So I got into it like a couple months late because of that.
Well, you've definitely caught up here, so just going in by yourself, but you saw it was a cool looking game to you. Was this the first game you've ever tried to go pro in, or have you been in esports before this?
This is the first time really. I haven't even understood how possible it is for anyone to go pro. I haven't really tried it in any other game.
Yeah, for sure. And the crazy thing about Rocket League, I feel like, different esports have categories, and so pros can kind of jump from game to game, but Rocket League's a totally different thing. It's completely unique, so it's not often that we actually have crossovers there. But you said that you found this game by yourself, and you played it a lot by yourself at first, and your friends wanted to play, but you have a team now, and it seems like you guys have some decent friendship on this team. Talk to me about finding your teammates and forming Team Method.
I was in a team with Continuum and Pixel back in the day, and after we didn't make RLCS Season 2, I really wanted to make a team with Magnus. So after Pixel left our team, we just picked up Magnus since he's Finnish, and I really liked his play, and he was really good mechanically already back then. And we just played with Magnus and Continuum for quite some while actually, before RLCS Season 3, and then a lot contacted us a couple weeks before RLCS Season 3 started, and he wanted to try out, and we were like, this could actually be something good. So we decided to switch Continuum to a lot before RLCS Season 3, and it turned out great.
Yeah, for sure. You guys have been, you talked about you and Magnus have been playing together for a while, and you've picked up a lot recently. And we saw you and Magnus playing in the Universal Open, and you guys played fantastically on nearly perfect defense up until the finals when you dropped there to Gale Force. And with having that sort of synergy that you and Magnus have, and then to pick up a lot as recently as last season, how does a lot fit into y'all's playstyle? Because you're great as a doubles duo, but then when you go to 3v3, things have to change up. How does a lot fit in with you and Mag?
I think we're so good at duo with Magnus is just because we're so adaptive. So it's kind of easy for us to get a new third, and we just want someone who's experienced and can be really confident and beat people to the ball, and we can just adapt around it. And that's pretty much how a lot is.
Yeah, well, it definitely worked out for you guys this week. We'll talk about it here in a little bit. I wanted to talk about last season a little bit. You guys had a bunch of org shuffling, it felt like, within Season 3 and then coming out of Season 3. But now you're here on Method. You've been with Method for a while. How's it been playing for Method? What's the Method life like?
Method is great. It's so nice to be under a respectable org after having some bad org experiences earlier. But
yeah, for sure.
Of course. Yeah, it's amazing to be under Method.
I have a roommate who's a big Method fan, and it's a lot of fun. He's just every time he's like, "Oh, Method has Rocket League team now? Oh, I'm so on board for that." So it's great to see you guys in Rocket League here. There was a lot of buzz around Method coming in RLCS, especially with how well you guys played in the Universal Open. But then when the play-in, it seemed like you struggled a bit and you dropped. You got swept by Excel in the upper bracket. What happened in that match from your perspective?
I think the main reason we lost, especially that hard, was just because we were super nervous in that series, since it was like the first big match in the RLCS so far, and it was so important to make it to RLCS this time, since there's no open qualifiers next season.
Right.
So it was a really high pressure situation, and we kind of cracked under it.
Yeah, but you pull it out in the lower bracket, and we saw you here, and then looking into, that play-in kind of created a few questions about, like, oh, is Method really the real deal? Are they going to have a lackluster season? But then week 1 happens, okay, and we start out with you guys going up against Reality, and you come out and you win there, and then the huge story of week number 1, it felt like for me, was watching you guys sweep EnVyUs, the defending world champions. And what were these series like for you? You're in, there's not that pressure of having to qualify anymore, you're here. How did it feel to defeat such an important opponent so cleanly?
Of course, it felt amazing after not having such a great qualifier, and last season we had a really rough start after having like 3 losses in a row from the start or something like that. But this time we already have as many wins as we did after the whole last season, so of course it felt great.
Yeah, that's huge. You guys going to be able to start here from the front and try to just move forward, and and then looking forward in season 4. Just broadly for me, what are the expectations for you and for Method for season 4?
We're expecting to make the LAN for sure, and at the LAN play our best and hopefully become the best in the world.
Fantastic. Well, shooting for that number 1 spot. Metsanauris, before I let you go, any shout-outs you got?
Shout out to my teammates, Alad and Magnus. They're amazing, and shout out to my girlfriend.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Metsanauris, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and good luck in the rest of season 4.
Thank you.
That is Metsanauris there from Method. Always great to talk to the pros here on Overtime. We've had a great show so far, and it's only gotten started. When we come back, going to be talking about the rookies of RLCS. Got a lot of them here in season 4. It's going to be fun to see which ones we think is going to make the biggest difference. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Overtime. Just got done talking to Metsanauris. Always good to hear from the pros here on this show. It's one of my favorite parts. Just getting to hear what they've got to say.
It's not hanging out with me every single week?
That's my actual favorite part, but like it's one of my favorite parts.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer.
Also cool to see you two guys.
Yeah.
What
It's
the
okay.
heck?
Hi.
You two, it's your all's favorite thing to hang out with each other, right?
I mean, I just met Quinn for the first time today.
Yeah.
And, in my opinion, can I be your friend?
You want to like pull your chair over here, just bring it over onto this side.
Yeah.
Every week he smacks his chest.
Overtime civil war here.
I'm smacking my microphone. I'm sorry for everybody.
Guys, we want to point out how many, talk about the rookies here. We haven't really ever done a segment about the rookies of the season, but every season we have new players and there's always new names and faces here. North America's got quite a few more than Europe, but it's never, it feels like about as many as we've had most seasons here. Starting with North America, the Cloud9 roster is the most notable ones with Squishy Muffin and Gimmick, and then filling out the rest of North America, we've got Aleutian, Seabass, Ty-Not, Tyler. Then moving over to Europe, it's the Tylacto, Flamey, and Bluey, who are the rookies.
Flame, not Flamey.
Flamey? I like Flamey better.
Flamey does sound cuter.
That is flaming you.
Well, just Flamey and Bluey. It just kind of just goes together, you know. Flamey, Bluey. They're not even on the same team. But you know, you're right. You're right. You're right.
just
Sorry. I agree with Gibbs. He shouldn't capitalize the E if he doesn't want me to call him.
No, I think he's going for more the way it looks, right? The big F and the big E and the kind of sandwich, the flame. But yeah, Flamey, it does, or like a flame.
Flame.
It's like a more hipster version of putting like the XX on the end. You know?
Yeah.
It's just capitalize them on the end, so like it creates the nice shape there. But
it's the next generation of like, I want my name to look cool.
Yeah.
But I also just want to name it Flame.
Yeah. No, we don't have an official like Rookie of the Year award here at the RLCS. But I've been like trying to think of like, can we possibly like as casters make one and something like that? So more on that maybe sometime in the future if we ever get that figured out. But we were talking before the show about like you know rookies. Which rookie, if there was one to nominate right now, here in week number 1, way too early, which rookie would we be going with? And I feel like Bluey's kind of the general consensus right now, but you could easily make an argument for Squishy Muffins or Gimmick as well. There's so much talent in the new players here. Bluey made, just the shot from the qualifier. I think it was that shot. You and I were casting carpet, I believe, and it was like, oh, that was the moment I was like, yes, Bluey's here to play. I'm so excited to see him.
And it's being able to execute that under pressure, I think, is what makes it so important. Almost every pro player can do this in ladder play, or you can make a montage for every pro player making these. But to do it several times per game when all the pressure's on, it's just insane.
Oh, to hit that, to bump him out of the way. And it's against Gale Force he's pulling these things off right now. You know, to make those sorts of plays up in the qualifiers, okay, you're up against a team who's not going to be competing in RLCS or has to, like, is trying to get into RLCS, but they're against Gale Force, the best team in their region, arguably, putting up shots like that. Bluey is a monster right now.
Yes.
He is. He is,
we were
folks.
expecting more from the European, representation over here. Come on, man.
I don't know what else to say.
To be fair, you guys,
Bluey is nuts.
Yeah, you guys have said a lot about Bluey. I mean, everything about Bluey, we've said it all so many times again. It's this guy's rookie season, and he's just been playing on another level than really most of the veteran RLCS pros.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's kind of scary to see. Can he keep this up? We've shown that most players aren't able to. I don't know. I mean, he's young. Maybe he's got the power, the energy.
Yeah, the energy. He's at the fresh blood here. Did you figure out who he was on the team with We Dem Babies?
It was Mistake.
Oh yeah, Mistake.
I'm still upset at myself.
I honestly wish that you hadn't looked it up and you forgot, and that you were just not going to know. That would have been so much better.
It would have been better. Like I told you later in the show, but not okay. That may be the worst.
Later in the show, we have to figure it out.
Mistake.
Yeah, Mistake makes a mistake.
Yeah, it's just like
Mistake scores.
It's like a lot, to be completely honest. You know.
Yeah, a lot's pretty bad.
Yeah, but okay. So Bluey, we talked about Bluey. The other player we want to talk about a lot.
He's a great player. The name is rough.
Run for MVP or not MVP, Rookie of the Year here for Season 4. Squishy Muffins from Cloud9. This roster missed out from Season 3, but made it through here in Season 4. And Squishy, maybe the bleeding edge creator of the current Rocket League meta with the ceiling shots. This guy is a monster.
So he's the one I get to blame for every single one of my teammates in rank trying to do it and just not being able to.
All those crazy ceiling shots.
What, the ones that they miss?
They're like, oh, I saw Squishy do it.
To be fair, I mean,
Squishy can do it, not the champ players I'm playing with. They're not doing it.
He's really, really good. That's the long and short of talking about Squishy right now. And the synergy he's got with his team around him. Like when we talk about rookies, we can talk about Farah as well from Season 3. The stuff we saw him doing in week number 1. We had never heard of this guy. We thought he was a girl because Cloud Fuel or Gibbs thought that was the truth here. But the plays we saw him putting up in week number 1 were amazing, and it continued through to this season. He's now a veteran player, but the impact a rookie can have, especially someone with the caliber like Squishy Muffins, Farah is a great example of just how valuable these players can be.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I think one of the coolest things about bringing these rookie players into the season, especially like Farah, that dribble,
this never gets old.
Oh, it never gets just old. When you haven't seen a player and their playstyle might be new to you, you just kind of underestimate them. It happens so many times. That's why we see these rookies just kind of come out of nowhere and surprise everybody. It's happened with Bluey, happened with Squish. I mean, these guys are really creating the meta. And when you have a player that hasn't even been seen, you don't know his play style, you don't know what to expect from him, and he goes and pulls off like crazy ceiling shots like Squishy or like those off the backboard aerial like Bluey. I mean, what do you expect from them?
Well, and the one thing I feel like with the rookies isn't necessarily as much the mechanical skill that surprises everybody, it's their mental resolve. Because these guys have all played with these rookies, you know, all through ranked and through other tournaments. They're rookies as far as Season 4 is concerned for RLCS, but they're not rookies as far as Rocket League. But it's the fact that they're able to, against Gale Force, pull out a 5-game victory, you know. That sort of stuff is what impresses me the most about the rookies.
Yeah, it really is a case of there is a certain mindset that goes into esports, into sports that you just have to have. And these are the guys that do have that. Players like Farah, players like Bluey, Gimmicks, Squishy Muffins, those are all really big ones. I want to point out here the ones that are going to be lesser.
Sure.
Like, not quite up the table this season. I'm going to, on the NA side, Aleutian. Really impressed me this week. And on the EU side, Flame. Flame came out big with as many of the shots that he actually got off. Same with Aleutian. He was just, one thing that you see a lot, and we did see it last season with Set to Destroy, is the fact of, okay, we're here, we're kind of being defensive. Aleutian, though, he was right up there, waiting for anything, just going, okay, I trust whoever's back. We're new to this, but at the same time, we know we belong.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing, you bring up Aleutian there, the NA roster of Emotion is entirely rookies, which is a thing that we would be remiss to not say on a segment about the rookies. This team has got their work cut out for them because while Fair made such a big impact in Season 3, he had veteran players on the roster with him, and to have those anchors really helps out a lot. So Emotion, not only is this their first time here, not only did they kind of upset a team to get here, and a lot of people don't expect them to do all that much, they don't have that veteran player on the roster. So for me, I really am hoping Emotion can figure out how to find that mental resolve, because that is definitely the thing that's going to be the most difficult for them.
And this is a huge proving ground for any rookies. You have all eyes on you. Whenever your series is up, everyone's looking at you. Everyone understands that you're new, and everything that you do can catch them off guard. Your job is to just not be terrible, I think, is what everyone is usually waiting for rookies. There's like, oh, he's new, he's probably going to choke, and his team's not going to be able to do it. So if you can even just perform like to any decent standard for RLCS, which most of these rookies are doing already, you are now giving yourself a chance for the future. Let's say your team breaks up. One of those pro teams that's looking for a spot, whether they want a starter or a substitute, are going to have their eye on you because now you've got a season under your belt. They know you won't cave under pressure, and they saw that you were capable of taking down other pros. So it's a huge proving ground for all these rookies.
Absolutely, and not just in North America and Europe, but there's rookies over in OCE as well. And Yummy's got a guy he wants us to pick out. He wants to call out specifically for if we're going to have a Rookie of the Year thing. Yummy, what you got?
Yummy Cheese Man here, and looking at Rookie of the Season, there are plenty of new players coming into league play for the first time in Oceanic history. Of course, there's only been one of the OCE championships before, but that doesn't matter. CJ has got that so much power. He's been performing so well in other tournaments during the off-season, and I expect not only for him to do incredibly well, but for him to be one of the best strikers of the entire season.
All right, looking forward to see CJ play in the future of Season 4 here. But, ladies and gentlemen, we got one more thing here on Overtime, the 50-50, everybody's favorite game segment here. Carpet's going to be taking Quinn and Shogun here head-to-head to see who's more right than the other. It'll be a lot of fun, lots of yelling. Don't go anywhere. Overtime will be right back.
Welcome back to Overtime, and this is the 50-50. All right, to my left, I've got a man who's got a weird vendetta against his own vocal cords, Quinn Lobdell. And to my right, I've got a guy who's convinced he knows what a sense of humor is, Shogun, which is actually short for Mega Shogun, which is actually shorter for why is your name Mega Shogun? So here's how it's going to work.
Oh, thank you, Findable Carpet.
I'm going to ask these guys questions, and they're going to give me their opinions on them. And if they agree with each other, hopefully they don't, because I like it better when they scream, especially this guy over here. So, you guys ready?
Always ready.
Easy.
All right, let's start easy. I'll get to the fanboy second. Shogun, do you believe in Flipside? Do you think they're going to perform this season?
I think they are going to perform this season, but no, they are not going to be up there.
No?
Nope.
All right,
Not
Quinn.
top 4.
I don't know your answer.
Not going to be up where? Guys, come on. They're going to be at the top. This is Flipside. We're talking about a dynasty. These guys are the best, and you should know that, Shogun, Mr. EU.
I didn't miss this place.
Oh, you got some fighting words. All right, well, let's just get on to the next one. Better rookie, who you got, Bluey or Squishy? Quinn, you go first.
This is a joke? Squishy, of course. The guy created a whole meta of ceiling shots. You see people in ranked ruining your games, it's Squishy. One guy ruined ranked. Come on.
Joke?
I don't know what he is. What are you? What's your answer?
Of course I'm going for Bluey. He's actually, won some things before. He actually had some players coming in to carry him, decided to win plenty of tournaments.
Didn't win GMAC Atlanta, did he?
Yeah, well, anyone could win anything with Gimmick. How did your professional career go, by the way?
Hey, I made it to RLCS Season 1. What about you? Made the lane.
Shogun, you're being too calm and collected.
I know, it's not great,
It makes
is it?
me uncomfortable. Guys, which was the better upset? Was it Method versus Envy or Frontline versus GFE Quinn Lobdell?
Can you repeat those one more time?
Method against Envy, Team Envy, or Frontline against Gale Force Esports?
I think Frontline against Gale Force was the bigger upset because Frontline, a team of just some randos. I mean,
complete randos.
Just completely new people coming into the RLCS and then taking out Gale Force, a team that had an incredible offseason. Those guys are amazing. We saw them win the NBC Universal Open and a lot of other stuff. Kind of, not really. They just got second place. But still really good results.
Well, that fizzled out real quick. Shogun, rebuttal.
Envy are world champions. How on earth could you possibly be going for anything else other than Method over them?
The player that carried your team to the World Championships is on Gale Force.
You are aware Remco is like the best player in the world, right?
Who? Huh?
He seems so beautiful. Have you seen him?
You guys clearly have already run out of ammunition on this one. When were Gibbs' jokes the worst? Before he was a dad or after? I'll go with the sense of humor guy.
He'd never had jokes. So before, way before, about 40 years before?
Shogun, I think we're going to have to agree on this one.
Nice. I like it.
And we're agreeing on the 40 years. Gibbs is 40 at least.
Oh, maybe more.
Maybe more?
Maybe.
I was thinking triple digits. I was thinking somewhere in the triple digits.
You're not wrong.
Some kind of weird vampire thing, All right. Merc or Gizmo, you have to use one of them for the rest of your life. Which one are you using?
Scarab.
Oh, no.
Oh,
You're one of those guys? Argue the Scarab from me. Tell me
no,
why.
it's just James uses the Merc, and Gizmo just looks like a very, very cheap version of Scarab.
Gizmo used to be nuts. People used to dribble like a madman with it.
Gizmo just reminds me of like the beginning of Rocket League when everyone who thought they were like a cool new dribbler and like was super dope played Gizmo.
Let me put it to you like this. If you're picking Gizmo, you're just picking bad card. If you're picking Merc, you're just a Jazer fan. If you pick Scarab, everyone knows that the card doesn't work that well to start with, so that means you're actually good at the game.
Yeah, what happens when you hit a ball with the ball?
I think that's more try-hard than anything. I think you're a try-hard if you use the Scarab.
No, I think it's
honestly,
a low-tier god, I am.
Is there
what's the lowest tier? Because I don't know, what's that called? Like person, normal person who's okay
Gibbs
at
jokes.
games? Oh, there you go.
honestly, the Gizmo just reminds me of Flo, and I miss Flo.
Yeah.
That's all he used. For those of you who remember North American player Flo, he was awesome.
Shoutouts to the easily the best flowing Jesus-like locks of hair that we have ever seen grace this community.
All right. Now this might be tough.
Yeah.
Which jersey are you going to get first of which team, Quinn?
Orange Cream Skull.
Orange Cream. All right,
coming back.
Himself. All right. His ego clearly strong and punching his
You changed the logo for that, by the way.
What? Well, we
That's
did kind of steal the one from like Popsicles.
All right, Joker, quit buying time. What's your answer?
Killer Moose Horde, my team.
Oh my God, both of you are just so egotistical. Blows
My
my
team
mind.
is the better team name.
Just mad you don't have a team of your own to buy a jersey from.
Let's stretch your creativity. If you guys could add a single item to Rumble, what would it be, Shogun?
Invisibility.
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 Would you get to see your own car? Like, are you just kind of like...
I get to see my own stuff.
Because if you were invisible too, you watch someone go for an air dribble and then that's never going to go. What do you got?
You know those like when people get married, they put those like cans on the back of their car, they go ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, just to annoy the hell out of people.
just an annoying item? That is the most Quinn Lobdell item you could have possibly added into it. Just loud and obnoxious. Just loud and obnoxious. I love it. All right. What do you want the theme of the next standard map they release to be, Shogun?
Pure silence.
Just silence?
Whale noises, actually.
Like actually in space. Oh, whale noises?
Whale noises.
Oh, we already did that on another.
No more whale noises. Please don't do them. Quinn?
Chutes and ladders. And we could just add something like that, or like those little Mario pipes or something. Just some cool
Hold on.
stuff.
You mean like the actual
standard
map? Like, yeah, I'm talking like the standard theme. Do you still want to be Chutes and ladder theme? Like.
Okay.
No, I actually want.
Can we do Candyland? Can we do Candyland?
I think that's pretty good.
Okay.
I think that's pretty. I think that.
I changed it. Operation.
Just how?
So
Explain.
it could be like on a doctor's like operation table. You're just like.
So you want the map to be on a doctor's
You could like just look
operation table.
below the field and just see someone being operated on.
Or how about instead, like you see a bunch of hands, like giant hands above the field.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Do you have a secondary since this guy's given like 5 answers?
I want to be in the same room as the guy that did Double Dream Hands.
Oh, the double dream
I
hands guy.
I want him on every single corner of the map.
I don't think that would pan out too well. I'd get distracted because that video is
Just
the best
everyone's in
video
the
ever
corner
made.
just watching.
All right, final question. If you had
Bring
to
it.
have an entrance song every time you either scored or took your foot on the field or whatever, your wheel, what is your entrance song, Quinn Lobdell?
Silence.
Silence.
I don't need this. I don't need to hear my own thoughts. I am the man.
But space silence, like where there would be sound, there isn't. All right. You got anything better than that?
I want Quinn's comms.
Quinn's comms.
I just want Quinn on like last time or every. I'm gonna take every single time Quinn has spoke on overtime or anything else, mash it together into 10 seconds, and put that as my entrance theme.
That's really embarrassing, though.
I don't know.
I don't want that.
But between the annoying Rumble item and Quinn's comms, whoever's in that game is just going to lose all their eardrums and all their sound by the end of it. But that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the 50-50. Honestly, I know this was kind of Shogun's initiation onto the 50-50, and I don't think I can give it to him just yet. You were a little too calm in the beginning, but you'll learn. You'll learn. I'll have you back. Quinn Lobdell, you earn yourself another 50-50 title.
Welcome to the 50-50 kingdom, baby.
And this is why I like giving him things, because he gets ridiculous. But that's going to be it for Overtime. Thank you so much for joining us. You can tune in again next week, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Something like
I'll
that.
be there. I think the 4 of us, we're going to be your squad for the most of the season 4, I think. So, tune in. Don't go anywhere until next week, probably. We'll see you soon.